I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. What's up, peoples? Yaya scared, y'all. I'm just going to say that last interview was a trip and a half and 3/4. Okay, so now that we're over this and we on this end, I'm back with my authors today, and I'm telling you, I am in love with authors. I love authors only because, and I keep saying this, but the imagination, the education, the realization, I mean, the documentation, all of these things authors are really, 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 really good at. And I love interviewing them. And we have Miss Ellis here today. And she is the author of My Life as a Lemon. I want to welcome her to the show.
Yay. Thank you, Yaya. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
Glad to love authors. I feel like a bias already. So yay, bias in my favor.
I do. I think being an author is amazing. And not only that, a lot of people never thought they would be an author. They never thought that they would even author a book. If I had people tell me, if you told me last year that I would be an author of a book this year, I would laugh in your face.
Wow.
What's your story?
My story is, so my life, like a lot of people, have had some twists and some turns. Probably more twists than I care for. And it's a memoir. So it's My Life as a Lemon, the Memoirs of Me. So we basically reflect my life from about right before I turned 7 till right about 42, 43. And it took such a long time to write my memoir. I started like in 2012, but at that time I was still living my story. And it's kind of difficult to paint a picture when you are in the frame. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm.
So thank God I started extracting the knowledge from a lot of the lessons I had to continuously take in order to get to the place where I am now to share my story. Throughout everything, incarceration, abortions, fights, being jumped on, all types of things, car accidents. Just, foreclosure, whatever you can think of, been there, done it. Through all of that, something just kept saying that kept me going, that, you're going to tell this story one day. So me, I used to have, I love cracking jokes. Everybody in my family, we in St. Louis, we call it Jones. Like, you're just going in on somebody. So we all got that kind of gift. And through a lot of the horrific things that happened, I had to keep that type of lightheartedness about it in order to keep going. So in my story, even in the tragic parts of it, I still try to write it where the reader is not inundated with just sadness or depression, because there is tomorrow. Just like the lemon, it's bright and sunny. And you can get through whatever.
Wow.
I just remember I used to have, I worked for this major computer company years ago when I first moved to Atlanta. And my coworkers used to live for Mondays because they could not wait for my stories that took place over the weekend. Because I had two crazy sidekicks, and we did, anything and everything imaginable. And I got to a point where I'm like, get out of my business. I used to start telling people, read the book. When I get out there, read the book. And it just started sinking in me, like, I'm gonna have to write a book, because I keep telling people just read the book. And then one day I just sat down and started putting pen to paper, and it took a long time because there was some, like I said, really dark parts of that book that I went through therapy, some things I had to get over. But I think I wrote a really authentic, transparent depiction of what actually happened in my life. And I think people will find it enjoyable. They will go on a roller coaster of emotions, and hopefully they'll be better for reading it, because I was better for writing it. Because when I put my story down on paper, what rose up was my purpose, because I had so many social issues in my book, but one stuck with me. It was the thing. I have a chapter in the book called The Thing That Changed Everything Else. And it has been this particular incident that propelled me and keep me talking to you, doing a show, writing a book, you know, putting my personal business out there because I went through it for a reason. I was challenged with the life that I had so I could pay it forward and give back to other people. I made it out. So I'm here to help others make it to the other side of certain tragedies and traumas.
Now, why the title, My Life as a Lemon? I mean, when I not to go into it, but when I think of a lemon, I think of something that's faulty, like you go to a car dealership and you buy a lemon.
Absolutely. And that's exactly why I used that. It came to me. I did a lot of brainstorming on what the title would be. And it just came to me one day. I was like, this is it. It made sense because the connotation, excuse me, the negative connotation that the lemon has, sorry, it's exactly what you said. They have the lemon law for cars, right? They didn't switch. Hey, it looked good on the outside, but it's crappy. As soon as I pulled off the line, it broke down. You know, a lemon has always, for a long time, was associated with something that was broken, not good. But guess what? So I was broken. I was not good. I was bitter. I was sour. Wow. I had a rough exterior, trying to protect my mushy insides, right? But one thing I have grown to learn about the lemon, and in most recent news and medical research, guess what? The lemon is actually very, very beneficial, right?
Oh yeah.
Even with its tartness, its sourness, its hard exterior, the bitter taste in it, it has a lot of benefits. And so what I recognized how I was so much like a lemon is all I was doing was looking at just those negative aspects of me. The traumas, the incarceration, and all those different things, the alcoholism. But what I didn't realize is once I mixed those experiences, the knowledge that I had from those experiences, with the places that and the mentors that my creator connected me with, it was like making a wonderful cocktail or a delicious pie. It just came out sweet. So I needed both the bitter to mix with the sweet parts to get everything that I have now. And what I realized also is it didn't take anything outside of me, because when we feel bad about ourselves, we're looking for answers on the external.
Right.
As you mature and you grow, you realize that you actually, all the things you went through was getting you ready for your next level. And you have everything inside of you that you need, right? And it took just that aha moment, which probably took too much longer for me than other people to get that. So yes, me and the lemon, we saw it.
I hear you. I hear you. You know, wow. And I mean, okay, so it's so funny. You like, just read the book. Just read the book. Oh no, I got to write the book. I mean, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Okay, there you go.
I can start off, but go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. I couldn't hear you. It's okay. No, I'm saying you started off like, hey, you just read the book. Just read the book. Now you just realized you had to write the book. But let me ask you a question. During writing the book and that process of writing the book, what resurfaced that you didn't realize was still there that you needed to get over? Did you have anything?
Oh my God. I'm gonna try.
I mean, I don't want you to get into specifics. I know it's in the book and we don't want to give away the book now, but I want to know just a general, was there anything there that you didn't realize?
It was a lot. I just remember starting certain stories, like a situation with me and my ex in high school. You know, it's most people just break up, child, please, but most people don't get shot at, right? Only to turn around and find out that all the rumors that you thought, or your speculations that he tried to defend and say, deflect and say wasn't happening, was absolutely true. And yet you still had to go to school, walk with your head up. You got your dad involved, you got your family involved, and this person still ends up with the person who, bombarded you. So I thought I had buried that through counseling, through just, getting older. But child, you gotta nothing. You can't. What's that saying by James Baldwin that not everything faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed unless it's faced. Right. I thought this time would heal wounds. Child, time don't just make that mark uglier. That's all. You have to address things, and it was in my writing, my sitting still. I mean, I was going through. I started drinking heavily again because it was evoking emotions that I thought I had, got over. I didn't get over. I just suppressed them.
Wow. Did you ever think that this would happen because you're sitting writing a book, going back to drinking heavily?
I don't know. I had, based on some stories in the book, that's something I thought I had gotten over. But I think I didn't necessarily want to get over it or stop drinking. The law made me stop drinking. See what I'm saying? So anytime there's an addiction, no matter what laws, what punishment, who shows up, it's not going to happen until the student is ready.
Yeah.
And I wasn't ready. So even though legally I had to walk a thin line or a fine line, once that was over, I didn't learn much. So I was back to my old habits because once again, suppressing things or just following orders, but not really getting to the root causes. And so you see yourself repeating things at a different age, in a different city, at a different job. You're still the same person. You're still bringing you to the stage.
Wow, yeah. That's crazy though. I mean, you said you thought you was over it because of the counseling and all that, but yet it was still there, hidden.
Yeah, absolutely.
Behind what?
Well, okay, so just to let people know, all of this stems from sexual abuse. And I actually started drinking as early as 9. Not by choice, but it was from somebody who I'm related to. So, it's always funny for older kids to give younger kids alcohol, right? Back in the day, oh, look at them, but it turned out not to be fun.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
Wow. And all of this is in the book, My Life as a Lemon?
Yes. I will definitely say this. I have probably about 15 or 20 drafts. And before I went on and published it, I extracted some information. So the details of that particular story that I just told about the cousin, right? I pulled out a lot of that because I had grown. Okay. A lot of the book I wrote initially in anger. And then I went back in 2016, 17, 18, and I was like, oh, I don't want that in there. This is not the message I'm trying to convey. Right. I don't want to muddy the waters, and I don't want to, destroy anybody's character or anything, because people will clearly read the book and identify themselves in it. And me and my family are still very close. So it wasn't to throw darts at anybody. It was to get out a story from my perspective and tell people the lesson I got out of it. Because I know if I was dealing with stuff like that, I wasn't the only person. I'm not special. Exactly. People going through that as well too. But hey, this is how I got over it. This is how I interpreted it. This is the damage I did. And this is how long it took and what it took for me to finally have a new perspective on life. Hey, maybe I can save you some time by reading a book.
Yeah, definitely. And, I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you, with all of it said and done, you finished a book, you've gone back, you kind of skimmed through it, got the things out that you thought maybe you have confused somebody, misdirected somebody, disillusioned, maybe, you know what I mean? Whatever the case may be. And now you have your book, My Life as a Lemon. How do you feel after writing that book? Do you feel like you've conquered all those things? This is finally done. I am finally free. I can move finally forward without any of those things bothering me ever again.
Well, I'm a party person. I'm a social person, so I like to have fun. But I typically, my circle is much smaller. Do you see what I'm saying? It's my family, what we call the 1140 crew. That's the address where I grew up. What I do know is just what I did is my journey took me into a lot of education, a lot of schooling, a lot of reading. I always did like to read. And I just realized that the things, what I wanted for myself because I was so embarrassed by my past, is I had only way to get over that past was to create a new future. And the only way to do that was I had to become a different version of myself. So even though I am who I've always been, I'm pulling from different strengths now when I'm faced with certain oppositions. Once again, the limit. Self-sufficient is always was in me, but now I have the awareness to pull from different things when I'm confronted with temptations or when I'm confronted with certain things.
Oh, wow. Wow. I have never had anyone tell me that they had to recreate themselves. So basically what you had to do was take the best of you and reconstruct that and leave the worst of you behind.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
It's still there. You see it but it's like you're also having an outer body experience when you read some of these things. Now, when I go back and read my story, because I went back and edited 100 times, like, oh my God, I misspelled that word. I can get giggles, I can cry on some parts, but it don't stay on me. You see what I'm saying? Because it's not me. I'm just like, I'm reading somebody else's story. Whereas I couldn't finish the story when I started in 2012 because I was that person.
Right.
I couldn't get done because how can I give you a lesson I haven't even learned myself?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, Miss Ellis, I wanted to ask you a question. And this is really like, I have a lot of questions in my brain. I'm like that. But this to me is just the most inquisitive question that I've had since I heard you say this. What pieces of your life were you able to use to reconstruct who you are today?
Oh, love it. Thank you so much. Well, the abuse. Once again, the thing that changed everything else. I looked at it differently. What happened when this abuse happened or took place is I created a whole different persona that when traumatic experiences happened to me or were happening to me, my thought process became, I was just having an outer body experience, if that makes sense. Even though I had the opportunity to handle the situation differently, it may be mitigated. With that abuse and with other things in life, I kind of checked out and went to my self-destructive behavior. Because if I can go a little further, I hate to give anything away. But the day after this abuse happened, I was about to shoot a man with my grandmother's rifle. And that behavior of trauma happens, I do something that will ultimately make that trauma even worse. Like I become my worst demon. That behavior followed after every trauma in my life. I would do something to destroy myself even worse. So I want people to look at themselves. Once again, nothing is happening to you.
Okay.
Some things are happening for you, or some things you are actually just adding meaning to them.
Okay.
If I can explain. I took this course through this company called Landmark Education years ago. It's a big help. I didn't get it then, I got it later. And most of my trauma surrounding that sexual encounter was the meaning I put to it, right? Somebody sexually abused you. That is what happened. That's the tragedy. The trauma is the meaning I put to that I'm worthless, I'm ashamed of myself. That's the trauma, right? So I had to learn how to look at that. What happened as just what happened. And how to correct that action that followed that traumatic experience. Because I wasn't the first person. I'm not the last. And if this interview was an hour, every 68 seconds, someone in this country, it becomes a victim of sexual abuse. That's a lot of people that's 60 people, right? While you and I are talking.
Yes.
So my goal is to give people better tools as we work with law enforcement and school officials to try to mitigate things by educating our kids as young as kindergarten. In the meantime, we got to learn when trauma happened to us, how to actually move on, not get over it, get through it, if that makes sense.
It does. It really does. And I want to thank you so much for talking to us and telling us that you can rebuild your life with the pieces that are left. And like a puzzle with pieces that don't belong, you can make your puzzle smaller and still fit. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what you did.
Yes, yes, yes. I like that analogy. Absolutely.
Definitely, definitely. So My Life as a Lemon, where can people get that?
Oh, thank you for asking. So they could visit my website, lifeasalemon.com. Or it's also on Amazon. Just type in My Life as a Lemon. Notice when I said my website, I said Life as a Lemon. So it's not mine. It's lifeasalemon.com or my name, fmellis.com.
Gotcha.
Or you can go to Amazon. Absolutely.
We're going to have all that information in the description box below so you guys can go ahead and grab that easily. It won't be any problems for you. You don't have to look any further than right below. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and go and follow her and go to the website. And, you know, and if you are going through anything, and this book just may help you pick up your puzzle and reconfigure it, you might want to think about checking this book out, My Life as a Lemon.
Absolutely.
I want to thank you.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Trust.
Yo, this is MacDo, and we're High Five. We're shouting out Dream Chasers and our girl, Yaya.
I want to thank you so much, Miss Ellis, for being on the show. I appreciate it so much. What a wonderful, I mean, you've done it. You did it. How do you feel?
I feel empowered. That I do. I feel empowered. So I like the song, There's No Stopping Us Now.
That's it. That's right. And
the book is just the start.
That's right. That's right. Are you going to write another book?
I am. Me and my daughter, we're going to co-write a book that kind of focus on mental illness. I addressed that in a couple of chapters in my book about an incident that took place with my daughter. And then it showed back up. So I think it's important for people to hear from people that have actually experienced things and how they've gotten through it. If they're not totally over it, how they're coping. We'll co-write that from different perspectives.
You get to come back.
Huh?
When you finish with that, you got to come back.
Absolutely.
Don't forget about me.
Never that. Never that.
Well, thank you, Miss Ellis. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to go ahead and go in the description box below and check out My Life as a Lemon, or go to lifeasalemon.com and check it out for yourself. You just never know. It might be the one thing that you needed that was just missing from your life. I want to thank you guys again so much for tuning in, and don't forget to dare to be different. Until next time, guys. Bye. I dare to be different.